Yo, yo, yo. Okay. You trying? I think it started.
What's that?
Recording. Well, I can't hear myself. I can't hear myself through, like there's no monitor coming back, but we'll see if I can hear you when you tune in.
Let's hope you ain't fucking up, homie.
Yeah, it says it's recording.
Hold on. All right, KDM James, we're in our cloud meeting. Zoom may not be supported by your browser. Let me copy the link.
Okay.
Copy link. Go up in here. Paste and go. Download from App Store. Open. Give me the meeting ID.
The meeting ID is 385 332 5500.
It says it wants my passcode.
What the fuck? There's a passcode too? Let's see here. So security. So, man, I don't know what the fuck here, B-12.
I'm here, brother.
Okay, here we go. Invite. Contacts. Copy invite link. Okay, I'm going to send this to you again on Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
Meeting ID number.
Okay. Meeting ID 777 6934 8015.
Okay.
Admit.
Okay, that's us.
Bam. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can still hear you on my phone, but not on my computer yet.
Okay, hold on.
iPhone connected to audio, it says now. I can see you. I cannot hear you yet. I cannot hear you yet.
You cannot hear me. Can you hear me now?
Zoom, let me check out the preferences on Zoom.
You should be able to hear me now.
Audio.
Can you hear me?
Okay, can you say something now, B-12?
Something now, B-12.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. That's what I thought, motherfuckers.
Yeah, it was set to a different.
It was operator error. We know what it was.
Yeah, man, my bad.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Lighten up, Katie Kane. I thought you Northwest guys were laid back.
Well, bro, I was shitting myself all afternoon because I couldn't figure out how to do it with Discord. You know what I mean? So I was like, fuck.
Well, I'm flattered.
Yeah, well, dude, that's why I messaged you. I'm like, fuck, can we read it? You're like, man, just do Zoom. And the free version wouldn't allow it, but this $15 one did. So.
Well, I hope it's worth $15, this interview.
Oh yeah. Well, the next one I have with Ryan Craig, we can have more than 4 people now, so that's worth it for the next couple weeks at least.
Right. I can dig it.
System.
You're gonna have to send me something that I can put on my Facebook to go. Well, how do I tell people to come join us?
I'm not gonna be able to post it until afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. I'll have to put it on YouTube after we record it.
It's all good.
Yeah, my bad, man. My bad.
It's all good.
Okay. Speaker, built-in headphones, audio, microphone, and computer audio when joining a meeting. Okay. Mute my mic. No, I don't want advanced. Echo cancellation, auto show in meeting option to enable original sound from microphone. Fuck that. That sounds not cool. Check 1, check 2, check 1, check 2.
A riggedy micka check it.
Okay, cool. That worked.
A riggedy micka.
Yo. Was that you playing the piano?
Where?
Oh, so it's just testing the audio. That's cool, man. Cool feature. Yeah. Cool feature. I like this Zoom shit already.
I don't even know what the fuck this guy's talking about.
Okay. Well, it is recording. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Katie Kane.
Okay, so I'm just gonna edit out that bullshit at the beginning. I'm just do my intro dance and introduce you, and then we'll just freestyle after that. You can hang out for like an hour, right?
Yep, do your thing.
Okay, cool. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 78th episode of Concerned Devs Podcast. I'm your host, Katie M. Kane. My guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is a music mogul from the Bay Area. He has managed N2D, JT from N2D. So if you like Back to the Hotel, that's him. You know what I mean? He also managed AWACS. He also managed Smig Dirty. Like the list goes on and on, ladies and gentlemen. I ask him all those questions and more. I met him on the road through my homie JSK. He's an awesome guy, dope promoter, dope producer. And he's also got some cannabis shit cracking off in the future in the next few months. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to say which state or anything. His name is Brandon, AKA B-12, ladies and gentlemen. Are you with us, B-12?
Whoop, whoop. What's up, Katie Kane?
Chilling, hey, man.
Thank you for having me, brother. It's an honor.
Oh, man, thank you. Likewise, bro. Likewise. I'm a fan of your work, sir. I am a fan of your work, man.
Well, the irony in that is that, as you know, I've in my travels, well, you may not know, I pay attention to a lot of people, and I likewise am a fan of yours. All your get down was always dope to me. So, thanks, like, man. Not just musically, but like you're a dope person.
Yeah, thanks.
Like,
man.
I wouldn't be doing this podcast if you weren't like the ultimate, like, just smooth, cool dude that always is positive. And I've been paying attention to Concerned Dabs, and I was tripping, and I was honored last week when you asked me to be on it, because I was looking at it like a month or two ago going, damn, I should get on Katie Kane's thing.
Hell yeah,
but I wasn't really ready yet to start talking about the stuff I had going on. But yeah. when you brought it up, I was like, you know what? There's no like right time. You got to just get back in the groove.
Yeah, man. Serious. Just jump, man. Fuck it, bro. Just jump.
So that's what I've been doing, man. I've been taking a lot of leaps of faith in the last few years. So this is one of them, because, you know, I'm some people might think differently because of a public persona that I might have had, but I'm actually an insanely private person, you know.
Yeah. Say it, man. I try to keep to myself.
Yeah, my music stuff that I've done historically is obviously not private, but a huge reason I fell back from being an artist and a personality was because people are in your business, right?
Yeah.
And my business hasn't always been sweet. It's not always roses. So it's like, man, you know, you to quote a corny sitcom, the facts of life. You take the good, you take the bad, You take them all, and there you have the facts of life. I don't know. That's an 80s reference for all those 80s babies that might be watching this later. But yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. And I want to know what concern to dabs even means.
Okay. So my
I know what a dab is.
Yeah, so my old co-host, when we came up with the idea for doing a podcast, I worked with him at a dispensary called Natural Wonders in Portland. And he was always grabbing dabs after work, and I was always grabbing flowers. And I wasn't super hip on IG. I didn't post all the time because I had a bunch of gardening shit that I got cards, but I'm still not comfortable posting photos of all my shit online. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
But the shit that you buy, I would always post that because it'd have the store logo on there and the farm logo and shit. And so when he would post on IG, he'd be like, here's some concerned dabs that I took after work today, this fucking live rosin. And it's like the look on his face because it's a fucking big ass dab, right? So it's like,
so he's got a lot of concern.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so I was like, bro, we should call it that because, and the reason we wanted to do a podcast is at work, we just have the dopest convos about weed and what everyone knew about different parts of it. And we just shared knowledge. And every now and then there'd be a patient in the store and the patient would hang around after they bought their shit and just sit there and listen.
To hear the talk.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And he's like, he said the same thing. He's like, you guys should do a podcast. And I was like, fuck, see?
It's something about the West Coast, bro, that we just all got game.
Yeah.
From Seattle to San Diego.
Yeah.
Like, even though everybody's playerism's different in those regions, there is truly something about the West Coast. People like to hear us talk.
Yeah. And so with that, like, it started out cannabis industry only, right?
Sure.
People aren't really that educated about anything.
No.
Plant limits or pesticides or extraction, like any of that shit. So that was like our whole first 30 or 40 episodes. And then more entertainment folks started hitting us back. And we're just, musicians and filmmakers, actors and shit like that. And so it was just like, we're not trying to change the name, but we kind of want to rebrand as not just cannabis industry. It's like entertainment and cannabis.
A dab can be anything, man. It's a dab of this, a dab of that.
Yeah, well, dude, like, that's why I like interviews like this, because you're into a whole bunch of shit, dude. So it's like, I can ask all kinds of questions and get some fucking cool answers and stories out of it. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah. I've got a cool, before we kick off the music business history tour.
Okay.
Just since it's called Concerned Dabs.
Yeah.
I've got a good dab story.
Okay.
I no longer smoke weed. I don't have a problem saying this.
All good.
I got my commercial license a few years ago, and in order to keep it, I'm randomly subjected to drug tests. So anyway, that's for the world. B-12 doesn't smoke weed no more. However, I smoked it all the time back in the day, and one of the things that I used to do was I would go hard on the other party substance, and then I would need to come down, right? For those who don't know, a little bit of powder, you know what I'm saying?
Have to mellow out.
I was driving to Phoenix, Arizona. I had no weed. I had probably snorted powder like 2 days before, but I never had my proper come down, right?
Yeah.
I never had the rest before I got on the road.
No REM sleep.
Correct.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend at the time was driving, and she would become my wife, second wife. She's like, well, let's get you some weed. And she was from Arizona. So I was like, well, who do you know has got weed? Well, everyone she knew had boof. I don't know what you guys call it up there. Bammer.
Reggie, Bam, yeah.
Reg, Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
So I was like, actually, I do know someone. And I met a dude in my travels. Actually, I met him through a dope producer who used to work with AWACS named Logic Ali. He did that song we got with Lynch. I don't know if you ever heard the Gonzo and AWACS album.
I did. It was kind of EDM-ish type beats and shit.
There were some on there, yeah. Ironically, the singles were, but most of the album actually was kind of street. But one of the songs we had on there was like a Scooby-Doo remake. And it was with Brother Lynch Hung. I think it was called Gangsta Shit or something like that. Well, anyway, long story short, Logic produced this beat. He's a cat from the 818 San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
his executive
SFV.
Yeah, exactly. His executive producer is a well-known. This is the only reason I'm telling this story, because the dude's known. Yeah. Otherwise, it wouldn't matter. Well-known dude. You've probably heard of them, Trapzilla.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Trapzilla's real well-known. The dude's name is Dolph. He used to go by DJ Dolph. Solid guy, man. He had a fat mansion in Scottsdale. I make the call. He's like, dude, stop by. I'll give you some weed. And we stopped there, and it turns out, this is ironic, they had no weed, but they had dabs for days.
Yeah.
So this is 2000, and I want to make sure I have my timeline right. I'm guessing this is 2013.
Yeah.
Because I'm already not working with my former artist anymore. So 2013. Yeah. And he's like, well, you know, I'm old school, right? So I'm thinking a dab is like smoking a little hash.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I try to explain it to folks. It's like hash, bro. Yeah. It's a little bit more, right? It's a little bit turned up. Yeah. Yeah.
So this girl, and now it looks, I think back, right? And I feel like I was in like a Mad Hatter scene from Alice in Wonderland or something, because there was this real pretty girl, and she was in front of this fucking contraption in his house, like a big machine.
Yeah.
And she's like, put your mouth here, pause. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And she's like, and she lit it for me, right? And I'm like this, and, you know, smoking it. Bro, 5 minutes later, I'm in Dolph's bathroom. I've called my wife in there. And I said, no, listen. I said, go get my pistol. And she's like, what's up? I said, they're plotting on me. So check it out, Katie Kane.
Paranoia. Super duper high school high,
bro. Yeah. So she brings me my gun begrudgingly, and Dolph and Logic are like, "What's up, B-12?" I was like, "Hey, y'all, I gotta go, man. Something came up," and they're like, "Why don't you just stay the night, bro?" I'm like, "Nah, you know." And then I start turning my back to people. I obviously told Dolph this later, so it's not no bad thing. But I was tripping on them. So we drove back to California. Yeah. It took us, okay, so if anybody knows, leaving from Phoenix,
it's like 5 or 6 hours, man.
No, Phoenix to San Francisco is like 12. Because it's 6 to LA.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, my bad.
But check this out. It took us like 22 hours.
Damn.
Because I was annoyed.
Yeah. Pull over.
All the time. And to top it off, right, we're riding dirty because I got a gun. Yeah. We're driving on back roads. We're not even on like Highway 5 or nothing. So I would call Dolph periodically on this trip. Yeah. And he'd be like, you all right? I'm like, man, what was in that, bro? And this was my first experience with a dab. I want to tell anybody who's watching this that I never smoked one since, gentlemen.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, hey, I don't, man. I stopped right around 2014, bro. Like, once I figured out that the pesticides were, there was something wrong with my heart, bro.
It made my heart hurt.
You know what I mean? Like it did. Like something was wrong with the muscle, and it wasn't the weed. It was the pesticides that they sprayed on it, concentrated into the oil. You know what I mean?
Amen.
And I didn't care if it was tested. I was like, I'm cool. Even if this flower is sprayed a little bit, it's not gonna make me fucking feel like that.
My wife made fun of me for the subsequent 3 years that we were married. Unfortunately, it didn't end. Our marriage didn't end well, but she made fun of me regularly. Like she's like, "Don't start tripping like when you smoke that dab." So when you talk about a concerned dab.
Very concerned, Deb. Yeah.
Very concerned. And shout out to DJ Dolph. If anyone knows who he is, the dude has produced for like Lil Pump, and he's produced for what's that? The big dude. He's just done a lot of those like trap rappers, and he's Riff Raff.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And he's a real cool dude. Shout out to him and Trapzillas. They got a nice brand. But that's my dab story, man. Now I'm gonna let you take over. And,
all good, bro.
Tell me where you want to go with this.
It's your time, bro. I would like to ask about your music career, dude. Like how did you start out into it? Because We did a remix on my mixtape of Back to the Hotel, you know what I mean, for Spokane. If any Spokane folks are listening, you know what I mean.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
I'd like.
it was pretty dope. We didn't.
I'd like to hear that sometime.
Yeah, man. I'll send it to you.
So let me give you the get down. So my journey takes like these weird turns. I know you can keep up with it, but they kind of skip geographical locations and timelines. The first thing I want to say is, and some people don't know this, but the true fans know, I'm not like an original member of In Too Deep or nothing. I wouldn't even say I'm a replacement member. What I would say is, in like 2001, so 8-9 years after Back to the Hotel came out.
Yeah. Still hot though to me.
No, yeah, I mean, sure. It still paid JT's bills. TL from the group, who was another dude I idolized, who was in Too Deep. He wasn't with JT anymore, touring actively, and I had kind of taken on this managerial role with JT.
Yeah.
And it turned out one night I just got handed a mic, and I started doing TL's parts.
Oh, okay.
So I looked like him a little with the goatee, and I was short and stocky, right?
He been in the house. He been in the house, man.
Right. And so nobody really questioned it, but we didn't lie. It's not like we went and said, "Oh, this is B-12 from In Too Deep," because I wasn't. I can't claim any credit for any of In Too Deep's success, except that I was part of the design team on the comeback of JT's solo career.
Okay.
So, from the year 2000 until like 2005, we brought him back. We got him a deal at Universal. It was real fun, but I give all that credit to JT because he like positioned me to be, like he said, 12er, do whatever you want. So I was like a rapper and the manager. I got a lot of trim on the road. You
got to meet a lot of people, dude, and conduct a lot of business. When
it was dope.
It
was dope. And so what ended up being born out of that though was in 2002. There's a rapper named Young Drew. Shout out to Young Drew, real talented Vallejo cat. He was about he's a year or two younger than me. He's also just to give context, I like to say this kind of stuff. He's white. He's white. So me, him, and JT, he's kind of like a JT and Johnny Z protege. Johnny Z is the producer for In Too Deep.
Did he make Back to the Hotel?
Johnny Z produced it, yeah.
Okay, cool, dude. Yeah. Cause like, did that come first and then Teddy Riley and them fuckers sampled the same shit or something?
Yeah, so I'll go to that one. I'll go to that.
Yeah, man. Cause I was having an argument with one of my homies at the bar one time. He's like, "Man, it's Teddy." I'm like, "Fuck you, it's In Too Deep, asshole." You know what I mean? So
yeah, basically, I'll tell you that story, and JT and them will tell you it better, but I can tell you what was passed on to me. But what we did was people liked our dynamic so much, we made a group called Free Agents. And that was me, JT, and Young Drew. And all our new music that we performed on tour was from that group. Mm-hmm. But all the old music was In Too Deep Latino Velvet stuff. So it was a blessing, man, because, Baby Bash was blowing up at the time.
Yeah. I want to ask if you can share a story about him later, but
For sure, I will. Yeah. I got some good ones.
Yeah.
Bash was also instrumental in my early career, and I'll tell you a story about that. But what was cool that was happening at that time, 02, 03, was like we had just got a record deal again for JT. We had a big song named Baby Girl. Mm-hmm. And we got a deal at Universal where Bash was already. And Bash and JT, they're tight. They're like, they grew up together.
Yeah.
And so we found ourselves kind of on tour at the same time as Bash.
Yeah. And that was when Sugar was coming out then, right?
Right. So he's doing Sugar, and then we're opening the show at some places.
Yeah.
And it was cool because we're all friends and came up together. But that was the extent of my In Too Deep per se involvement. But what I was real proud of was we successfully brought TL back out of retirement.
Oh, tight.
And so me, him, and JT went on mini tours through the Northwest, Bend, Oregon, Spokane, Washington, you know.
Yeah.
And we had DJ Mark 7 with us from Santa Rosa.
Did you guys ever stop in Pullman?
Not Pullman. We did
Moscow maybe?
Idaho?
Yeah, Moscow, Idaho, or Lewiston.
So we did, hold on, I'm going to tell you what town we did in Idaho. We did Boise, and we did what's north of Boise?
McCall or Lewiston. Lewiston is the next biggest city. Yeah. I feel like I went to that one, but I fucking got there too late, man. Like,
yeah, we were notorious, man, for because we were whores. We were well known for performing and leaving with the twerk, you know.
Yeah, hell yeah. I ain't mad at that, bro. I cannot deny.
Let me tell you, I toured for probably 15 years of my career. And I'm going to tell you this. I never got as much Yachiavelli as when I was out with JT.
Word.
Because that's just the kind of music he made, and I appreciated it. Yeah. Because you got to understand, like, I think some people don't really have my dynamic understood. I'm a manager, but I'm like also like the main street dude in my crews.
Yeah.
So like, I'm from a gangster rap background. So I'm always looking for the fight, right? I'm punching someone in Walla Walla. You know, I'm doing, but JT's like looking at me like, B, I don't have to fight my fans.
Yeah.
You know, and
I want some girls in the crowd. I don't want the girls fighting either. Like,
so I had to learn that, and I learned that a little bit of the hard way. You know, I don't mind saying it because everyone's grown now. But me and JT had some strain on our relationship because we had all moved to Tucson, Arizona together.
Dope.
And like set up shop, and I started getting in more trouble. Yeah. You know, like here I am, like 26 years old. What are you doing? Like still guns and, you know, like, so,
that was like when I caught my last charge too. It was like 08, bro.
Yeah, unfortunately it wasn't my last time, but it was the one that kind of like led to the dissipation of my relationship at the time with JT. We're great now. That's my brother. Yeah. But he was definitely rooting for me as like a all-around human. And I disappointed him, and I disappointed some other, because I'm like, even though I just made 43, I'm the young one in the crew.
Yeah.
So all of the dudes I came up under are 47, 48, 49, 50.
Yeah.
So when I was 23, they were 30.
Yeah.
So they were already out of that nonsense stage, and I was young and rich and popular.
Yeah.
And that was a bad combination. And the crazy thing was, I wasn't even a substance abuser yet.
Yeah.
So like, I can't imagine. I wouldn't have liked me, put it that way, either.
Yeah.
You know.
I tell my lady that too. I'm like, because I knew who she was when I was like 22. I would see her at the bar. But I'm like, I'm glad we didn't talk back then. Like, I was a fucking asshole when I was 22.
Yeah, I was a dick too, bro.
Yeah.
Like if there were people out there that ever got rubbed wrong by me in any way, not my enemies. It's fuck my enemies for life. But I'm talking about a random human that for some reason had a bad experience with me, man. Blame it on my head and not on my heart.
Yeah.
You know? Because like sometimes we don't even know what we do. And like, particularly with the music industry, right? Like people are paying to like see you. Yeah. So why would you bring drama into their world?
Yeah.
You know, why would you endanger them? I mean, you know, we've been in shootouts on the road. I got dumped at by a white Crip in Spokane.
I live in Spokane, so I don't want to talk about anything that happened in Spokane. You know what I mean?
But that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it.
I stay in the crib. I stay in the crib where I fuck with my homies at the podcast, and that's about it, bro.
But that's why I'm saying it, because I went around life thinking, oh well, we're in Spokane, they can't be tough. People are tough everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I learned that early. I should mind my manners when I am out of town. You know what I mean?
So now, as a full blown adult and father and all that. I just appreciated those times on the road, and especially those small communities, because those are really the people that embraced JT. And because they embraced him, they embraced me. And I still have, you know, you're one of them. JSK is one of them. I still have those relationships, like people that were, you know, that were my homies. Like, so that was all cool. So you wanted a Bash story? I got one for you that has to do with.
Yeah. Before Bash, can you give me like just a brief laundry list of artists that you did manage or help produce their albums, anything like that? Like, because I know it's mainly N2D. You had the most time with them, and but you helped a lot of up and coming guys after that, and that's how I came to see you. I didn't know you were N2D's manager when you were on the road doing that shit with them. It was when you were managing some newer artists when I was starting to do my rap shit, you know, like.
Yeah, so one of the blessings that came with success was so it's important to identify that I had two careers. One of them was I was the vice president of urban music at a company called Bayside Distribution.
Yep.
And that company was a wholly owned subsidiary of the retail giant Tower Records. You know, Tower Records had 119 stores in the United States.
Fuck yeah, bro. That was the favorite when I was a kid. That was the funnest shit my dad ever did with me when I was a kid when we lived in Portland, was take me to Tower Records and give me $5.
That's dope.
I could go and get 2 cassette single tapes, bro. You know what I mean?
Because they were $1.99 each.
Dude, yes. And I had like $1 to go and get a slushie or something afterwards. You know what I mean? It was just like, fuck, thanks, Pop. And to him, it's fucking $5. But to me, it was like,
well, it's an experience.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro.
Well, I have kind of a similar one. I didn't shop at Tower Records when I was young. I'm not trying to like make a cool poverty story, but I lived in a neighborhood in San Francisco that was real far from where Tower was. Yeah. So although when we would go to the mall in San Francisco, it was called Stonestown Mall, where I would go learn about music was Tower. I didn't buy stuff there, but you could obviously spend time in there and
learn and listen too, bro. Like almost everything. Correct. They had like a top 20 at least on the headphones and shit.
Oh, I mean, they had a top in Frisco. What was dope, they had an open copy of almost everything. Damn. So you could have them put it on, which was cool. Yeah. So I learned about a lot of music there. So you can understand, like, going from, like, let's say that was 1989 when I was a little kid, right?
It was, yeah.
So in 1999, so to put this in perspective for you, I would get offered a job there.
That's
but not
tight.
Right? Yeah. So not not at Tower Records, but so the way it was set up was
the distributor, you know what I mean, who puts them in the stores, right?
Right. So what happened was there was this company called Bayside, and they were based in the Bay, hence the name, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Sacramento, the capital of California, is where the Tower Records family was born. They bought Bayside Distribution and moved it to Sacramento from the Bay. In the 1990s. And the reason they did it was pretty cool, was so they could have their own distributor to sell their own music.
Yeah.
So that, like, for example, Tower Records had a deal with Prince to sell his album, his first independent record, the New Power Generation record.
Where it's what it wasn't Prince, it was the symbol or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the symbol. So they had a deal.
Yeah, so he's like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna put this CD out. I got the distro already, assholes.
So what he did was he brought it to Tower, just for Tower to put it in Tower.
That's cool.
Tower saw that as an opportunity and said, well, what if we could also sell this CD of yours, Prince, or whoever his label is, to other stores for you? Yeah. And Prince was like, oh yeah, I'm open to that. And so the modern Bayside was born in like 1996. They spent a few years being very white, very non-urban.
Yeah. A lot of people were scared, man. You know what I mean? Because
that's what they were. So
they didn't understand that coverage sold records. You know what I mean? Like they were afraid of it because the news told them to be. you know?
Exactly. And that was the time we were in. So what happened was my mentor, Rob Nonies, who was one of the founders of Young Black Brother Records with Kyrie.
Yeah.
Had Mac Mall, Ray Love.
I fucking love that Kyrie Black Elation album, bro. With Back to My Mission. Back to My Mission by Mac Dre. Dude.
Very slept on album.
Yeah, and Raining Game. It's Raining Game in Northern California.
Had a really dope cover too.
Yeah.
Kyrie was sitting in his 850i Benz and he had a Movado watch on. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
It was a dope cover.
It was like 10 years before you ever heard that shit in a rap song too, bro.
It was 97 he put that out.
Yeah.
So Rob had left Young Black Brother and he went to Bayside. And I was looking for distribution. Me and my partner Derek B, shout out Derek B.
Yeah. I watched one of your guys' Monday episodes, man.
Yes,
you and him.
That's my boy. He's who kind of brought me out of semi-retirement. So Derek B and me, we were like running low on money and we needed distribution for this album we had with Chuy Gomez, who's a local radio personality in the Bay.
He's in AZ now too, syndicated, isn't he?
I'm not sure where Chuy's syndicated, but I know that he's the #1 dude we've always had in the Bay. And we presented like a compilation with him with all Bay rappers, but we ran out of money, right? And I'll never forget, it was 1998. We got our last bit of our money, and me and Derek are like, let's just take our kids to Disneyland. And we had sent out packages of our compilation to all the music distributors.
Yeah.
Well, one of them, and we were like, well, they're gonna give us, and that was back when they advanced you money, right?
Yeah.
So, we were thinking, okay, hopefully one of these deals will come through, but this little $3,000 we have isn't going to save our life. Let's go have a good vacation.
Yeah.
So me, Derek B, his sister, and all our kids, we went and had like a hell of a time in Disneyland for like a week.
Yeah.
When we get back, we're broke. I'm out of weed, and that's what I was selling back then.
Yeah.
And we get a call from Rob, and Rob's like, hey, man, I got a new gig. And I'm like, cool. And I'm like, where you working? He was like, this company called Bayside in Sac.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, I ain't never heard of it, you know? He's like, oh, it's owned by Tower. And of course I heard that and I'm like, oh, they must got money.
Yeah.
And so Rob's like, so you guys want me to distribute this Chuy record? I'm like, yeah, I need an advance. And of course it's one of our best friends, it's our mentor. So Rob is like, I'll get you an advance, come up to this meeting. So we get to the meeting. Mind you, I'm a part-time drug dealer, part-time music executive.
Yeah.
Derek is a full-time DJ, and we put everything we had into this comp. It was dope. And it was a double disc. And back then, everyone didn't have double discs. There was like Tupac and a couple others, but you know, this was still 98, 99. So we're in a meeting, and the dude who's the executive at Bayside, he's sitting in there and he hears our story. He's fascinated with me because, you know, let's just be honest, I don't sound like I look.
No.
So
I get the same thing, B-12, the same exact thing all the time. Like, you're Katie K. You know what I mean? I'm like,
that's why I'm telling you this
I thought
story.
you were black. I'm just like, fuck. Nah, I'm native.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, you sound like a smooth ass black DJ from Detroit.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's looking at me and he goes, he had this big old mustache like Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
And he goes, why don't you guys come do for me what you do for yourselves? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm offering you a job. And me and Derek at this point, we had never considered.
Yeah, you were just trying to get a check. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Right.
We just want the check for the CD. Fucker, hand it up. Like, what? Huh? You know,
so
like,
it worked out. It worked out twice for us because he offered us, you know, 50 grand. He offered a $50,000 a year job, which is a lot of money.
Fuck yeah, especially back then, bro. Like that's like 70, that's like 85 right now, bro.
Yeah. And so what me and Derek did, being the entrepreneurs that we are, we said, how about you get us both and we'll split it. Yeah. And I'll never forget, Katie, that was what it worked out to, 25 grand a year back then. Well, I guess right now probably too. It was $840 every 2 weeks after taxes.
Yeah.
All right. So just to put in perspective for you, the way the Bay was at that time, you could rent a nice apartment for $700.
Yeah.
So
it's weird
me
how
and Derek
it's
B,
yeah.
me and Derek B are like, wait a minute. We got jobs,
Yeah.
and they gave us an advance check for the compilation.
That's fucking tight, bro. Like that's a good ass day right there, bro. You know
it was
I mean?
amazing, man.
Yeah.
And Derek and anyway, many more years passed by, and we did a lot of great stuff. But so I said all that to say, that was like my first paycheck in the music business. Mm-hmm. But I had gotten paid before that, because what I was before that was I was a promoter. So mm-hmm. I promoted for a lot of major labels. But you know, you would only get a, so let's just pretend Mac 10 Faux Life came out, right? That 95. Yeah. They would send you $800 and a bunch of promo material. And some, like a little bit of vinyl and shit too. Yeah, vinyl, poster, stickers, flats. Yeah. And you would go promote in your region. Yeah. You know, so it was never like a real job. So that's kind of what we all did back then. Yeah. And that got us a lot of relationships. And on top of that, you know, I come from a neighborhood that's very rich in musical history. Mm-hmm. RBL's from where I'm from, 11-5, Herm. So there's a bluebird on my shoulder. Should I kill it? That's right. That's classic. That's a classic song where I'm from, man. Yeah, I imagine everywhere. Yeah. So all of those folks that I grew up with, as soon as I got into position at Bayside, I started calling them and saying, you want to come do a deal? And a lot of them were like, it was weird because 99 was a weird year for Bay Area and Northern Cali rap, because we didn't have any stars anymore. Of course, don't get me wrong. Of course, E40 stayed popular, and there were some other exceptions to the rule. Yeah. But as a general rule, that whole 90s rush on the major labels was over. Yeah. Selling Cell, RBL Posse, Looney Coleon. It shifted way down south by then, you know what I mean? For sure. It became a no limit world. Yeah. And certain little cities had like a 1 or 2 year run, but it's like that's the region. But the Bay was over for all intents and purposes. I agree. So we had this unique opportunity at Bayside to like rebirth the Bay. And I can say that 20 years later, I can say, had we not done Bayside, you wouldn't know about none of these new guys. Yeah. And the reason is we created like a false economy by advancing money, paying for graphics, paying to press albums. Nobody did that at that time. Yeah. So what I was saying was that was one part of my career. So a lot of people mix up that part of my career because they think that I owned Bayside. You get it? Because my company right here, Bay Rider, is a very similar name. Yeah, man. When I posted the flyer earlier this week, on one messaged me and he goes, Bay Riders B-12? I was like, yes, sir. 12 is Presley. You know what I mean? He's like, cool, man. You know who gave me that name? JSK? Nope, Johnny Z. Oh, okay, cool, man. Yeah. Johnny Z. Everyone else had a different nickname for me. Coolio the Underdog was the first one to call me Dozen. Right. And Johnny Z started calling me and JT from it, JT called me 12er. Yeah. And Johnny Z called me 12 as Presley. Word. And I've used them all in some kind of way. Yeah, it's kind of a Bay Area thing, man. Like there's 40 has like fucking 20 aliases, bro. For sure. You know what I mean? Like every album has a new one. And it was an honor for me, right? Because all these dudes who gave me my nicknames were like my legends. Yeah. You know, my first nickname B-12 was given to me by Tay to Tay. So from 11-5. So it's been cool. So during that time that we were popping at Bayside, I kind of started managing. I don't want to say like I had a lot of pet projects. Yeah. And they weren't necessarily the popular guys. One of the first people I was working with was iRock. Yeah. San Diego. I remember grabbing his CD from JSK, but he was on one of Yuck Mouse album. I knew who he was when I saw the CD. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So we had iRock. That turned into Smig Dirty. I had a relationship with AWACS through an artist, rest in peace, named Woody.
Yeah.
Woody's rap.
That Woody and AWACS album was pretty hot, bro.
And that's kind of where it was born. Like, I put that album out on my own label. I bought AWACS's verses and Woody's verses. And Woody and I were real close. Funny story about Wax was we weren't cool when we met. And Woody had to like call me up and be like, nah, Wax is solid. And he's just like you, B-12. I remember him telling me that, like you're both thugging ass white boys, or whatever.
Yeah.
So we got along famously, and I managed him all the way until 2013.
Yeah.
But in that middle time, a lot of dudes came and went. I can't say I was all of their manager, but I could say I was a lot of people's consultant, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, dude, and just a laundry list. It's not like you're taking credit for their success. Just people you've worked with. Yeah.
So at any given time,
that's mogul shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So we had a really cool facility called 940 Tyler. It was in a town called Benicia next to Vallejo. And me and Derek B had a studio there. And this was around right before Mac Dre died. So at any given time, dude, you'd have Mr. Fab, Hollow Tip, Turf Talk, iRock, Smig Dirty, Looney Coleon, AWACS, Balance. All of them dudes, dude, were just around creating music. None of the music was mine or theirs. It was ours, right?
Yeah.
And we had a magazine called Southwest Bound. And
I remember that. JSK was a part of that.
Yes, he was. JSK was a part of pretty much everything I did after 01. And the reason was I put him in position because I saw he had a lot of value in terms of his networking skill set,
Yeah, bro.
And one thing about JSK, and like a lot of people lack this quality, but he was willing to get his hands dirty.
Yeah.
And I mean that, I actually mean that literally, right? Like a person who has no problem putting up a poster, driving a van, pitching a tent, sweeping a floor. And he did what he could. And so I kind of gave him, not to be arrogant about it, but for what it's worth, my team gave JSK the keys to the Northwest on our behalf.
Yeah. Well, that's how I met all you guys. You know what I mean?
Because
I'm from a town. I grew up in a town of 1,000 people. B-12. It's like I started meeting folks when I went to college. I was doing my little hustle thing before that from Yakima and Spokane. But it's like once I went to college, bro, it was like holy fuck, I got access to all these other cities now, and that's when JSK
Where'd you go to school?
I went to WSU first outside of high school, and then I dropped out after 2.5 years. Then I did online through PCC, and then I went to Coeur d'Alene for a year to get my GPA up, and then Wazoo wouldn't take those credits, so I graduated from U of I. And so both of those teams all had football players too that were just, you know what I mean? It was cool to plug in and figure out where everyone was from and what everyone was doing and make some moves. And that's how
you have a degree.
Yeah, I have a Bachelor of Science degree in public relations.
So check this out, all of you people watching. This fucking pothead right here has a 4-year college degree.
Yeah.
And some of you won't even get off your ass to just take a self-betterment course. No, props to you, bro.
Yeah, I don't like this stunt on it. I caught my F my senior year of school, so I had to sit my time right after I graduated. Like I had 2 days and I had to show up and sit my time. So
that's all right.
Yeah, so I don't like to.
Well, you know what I say about people who go to college?
Yeah.
And complete it. I say it doesn't tell you that they're intelligent. It tells you that they are deliberate.
And you can complete something, dude.
That's what I mean. Like it takes deliberation, right? It takes focus, at least. If nothing else, you have to be reliable to show up to class.
Yeah, especially going to court and then pleading guilty and waiting for sentencing, bro. Like that was pretty stressful.
So how long did you have to go sit down, if I could ask?
30 days. It was 6 months with 5 months suspended. I violated once and had to sit an extra week. You know what I mean?
So where'd you do your time at? In Portland or?
Nez Perce County, down there in Lewiston. It was
How big was their jail?
It was before the new one was built, but they didn't have the Wi-Fi cable across the bridge to the court yet. So it was in the old one where the courthouse is downtown Lewiston.
Okay.
It was pretty small. But
how was the food?
Not that bad, bro. Not that bad.
I ask everyone about how they're, because I love good jail food.
And they had you know, like 20 channels on the TV. And the cool part is one of my bros that was at the very first Tool show that I went to in 06 that changed my life. He transferred in there from Benton County, from Tri-Cities, like a week after I showed up. And so it was like, fuck, all right. So it was cool to just crack jokes with him for the rest of the time.
Did you say your first Tool show? We're not talking like Tim the Toolman Taylor. We're talking Tool, the rock group.
Yeah, Maynard James Keenan, man. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know a lot about them. I know the name.
Yeah. Not just Tool, but A Perfect Circle and Pussifer. Like that, that's what sent me on this rock shit, B-12. You know what I mean? Like my cousin took me to that show, and then after that show, it was like, I'm gonna put out these rap songs, but I'm gonna find a band. And we're gonna do this shit.
Do you have a band now?
Yes, we do, man. It's the same cousin that took me to that show. It's him and his brother and his bro from high school. I go down and record with them every 2 or 3 weeks down in Lapway.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So I want to address something for you real quick. You asked I had to Google this. I want to make sure I give the proper info.
Yeah.
I know we're jumping subjects.
Yeah.
So you said who was first with that sample?
Yeah.
And actually, you know, it's the Lafayette Afro Rock Band is the name of the group.
They sampled it first?
Well, no, that's the group who it sampled from. The song's called Darkest Light. But the first person to have it was Public Enemy. Show them what you got.
I didn't listen to too much Chuck D at all, bro.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
But of course, the first smash hit was In Too Deep with Back to the Hotel. Then, and I never knew about this one, then Rump Shaker came shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And then there was Back Against the Wall by 3 6 Mafia.
Yeah.
And then
but still In Too Deep before everyone else, at least.
For sure.
Yeah,
and Friday by Ice Cube, right? Of course, Friday.
Yeah, he chopped it. He chopped it a little bit different. Yeah.
But see, an interesting story, and I think Johnny Z said before, maybe JT did, that Ice Cube did not sample the Lafayette Afro Rock Band. He sampled In Too Deep.
Yeah. It was like, when I listen back now, it's almost like that's when Q Points came out for a DJ, like a CDJ, and that's what he was doing, with just da 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 da, like that. You know, he was just playing it like he probably played it live, even. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. And then Britney Spears sampled it, so I'm gonna download that later. I want to hear it.
Hell yeah.
So those were some of the artists, jumping back to that were around. Eventually. And this was to the credit of, I was also consulting at that time a lot for Napoleon from the Outlaws, Don Cisco. You know, we had Looney Coke.
Oddwood knows that guy too, I think. Oddwood's worked with him before.
Yeah, I think so, actually.
Yeah.
And he was part of Latino Velvet. And then we were putting out records on Frost. It was fun, man. It was a great time because, you know, on one hand, I had a paycheck coming from my job, which was the music.
Yeah.
And then I had all these other things that didn't need to get paid for me to do them.
Yeah. It's like you attached a point or something to each project. And
right. And most of them didn't bring me any return, but what they brought me was a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
So like, for example, when JT got signed to Universal, I had to take a smaller cut because Universal told us you need a real manager.
Yeah.
And they weren't wrong. I really didn't have the skill set at that time for the next level. So they hooked us up with a guy named Brad Patrick, who was managing Jay-Z's Fade to Black tour.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't Jay-Z's manager.
Nah, but they made a whole DVD off that shit. And that's,
correct,
bro, that's when it was happening. That's when he was leaving Def Jam. or he was leaving Rockefeller.
Rockefeller, right.
You know, he's like, dude, I tell people about that play. I'm like, he told his three-way partners, let's sell it to Def Jam. And then a couple months later, Def Jam hires him and gives him the company that they just sold him.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I was like, fuck, man.
So working with Brad, I had to, you know, give up a bigger portion of JT, but it was dope because bigger shit was happening.
Yeah.
We were getting put on big events, soundtracks, you know. So it was a cool time, man. But somewhere in about I caught a case in Arizona, like I said.
Yeah.
And then me and JT kind of did this a little, not because he didn't have my back, but he wanted me to buckle down, and I just wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
And so and I missed out on a lot of opportunities because of that, not just with him, but you know, Bash was popping and JT was around that.
Yeah.
And then you know, we were real close with Mac Dre through JT.
Yeah.
And I could have been on all them shows, you know.
Yeah, after you tell a Baby Bash story, you got to tell a Mac Dre story, man.
My pleasure, anything I can. So anyway, somewhere after I finished my case and I got deported literally from Arizona, they sent me on an interstate compact to California and said, don't you come back now, you hear? Yeah. So I was on paper for a while, and things started taking off. I'm going to give him a lot of credit. AWAX was real diligent in his career. And I wasn't per se a fan of Wax's at that time, but I'm going to give credit where it's due. Smig, who was one of my favorite rappers.
Yeah, I like his shit too, dude.
And he was one of my favorite humans. Like at the time, like I loved Smig, so he could tell me anything.
That fucking that Walla Walla love song, bro. Like that shit is fucking hard,
real
bro.
dope.
Yeah,
real dope song. I was there for that. So Smig got in my ear and he said, "Man, you know, why aren't you fucking with Wax?" And I'm not gonna like lie. I used to make jokes about Wax's music at that time, but not because I was joking him, but because I don't think I understood it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Was Thug Deluxe out at that time yet?
No, it was right before Thug Deluxe.
Yeah, I love that album too.
But the way our relationship grew was we kind of invited him to that studio I told you about, same one, 940 Tyler.
Yeah.
And Wax finished. You know, Doug Infinite is the producer.
Yeah.
He's big, or was.
Well, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he did Kanye. He's done a lot of people. But Doug Infinite, AWAX got 3 beats from Doug Infinite, and Doug wasn't involved at all, meaning like he sold the beats and that was it.
Yeah.
So it was his responsibility to record them.
Yeah.
So I like kind of come over to our studio, come like get under our wing.
Yeah.
And that was right when he started falling out with the mob figures. And he told me the story about it. And I'm not acting like I'm some kingpin or something, but I we kind of like co-signed him and embraced him and said,
yeah,
well, come fuck with Bay Rider then.
Yeah.
So now AWAX was de facto in our crew, or we were in his, or however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And me and Derek B were like the managers, and Smig and IRock and Wax were the main artists.
Yeah. Well, dude, like you guys really turned up on that promotion, dude. Like there was that DJ Warrior mixtape.
Yeah,
and then there was the Akon deal, bro. Because it was MySpace back then.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys would drop songs for one day, and you could download it for one day. Yeah. And then it was gone. And so I would check every day, bro. And sometimes I would get one, sometimes I wouldn't. I'd have to look for it on YouTube or ask JSK or someone to email it to me. But it was like, stay tuned, motherfuckers, because shit does come out here on this player. You know what I mean? And
we had a lot of fun, man. And you know what? Like I said, we were all making money in other places. I had long since left Bayside at that point, but we all had our own like sources of revenue. Yeah. So there was no urgency to make money. And because of that reason, a lot of great music was being made, bro.
Yeah.
Like phenomenal. I'm talking about like dudes who never worked together were making songs. Bro, listen, Katie, true story. I have hard drives full of AWAC, Smig, our old artists, Ice Mees, Messy Marv, Chili Powder, Danny Boy from Death Row, Mal Young, who sang on To Live and Die in LA for Pot. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, hard drives full of this music that we had so much good music that, believe it or not, we couldn't put all this stuff out.
Yeah.
Because all of it wasn't as good as the stuff we were putting out.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Because
No,
it
was a great.
Because I was impressed, dude. I bought a lot of those fucking CDs.
We appreciate
like a lot, dude. So even the mixtape ones, I'd be disappointed. I would want the one or two original songs, and I'm like, this mixtape shit's alright, but it was worth it for those two songs. You know what I mean?
Right. That's kind of what we thought that we hoped to accomplish with people. Yeah. So then we got the attention and we started getting deal offers. And that is what it is. We had a really good run, and everything comes to an end. I won't really talk about why, but
yeah. Well, the other thing I wanted to say about the MySpace era is I would follow him. I was a super big fan, but when the Akon deal happened, everybody who signed to that label got a chain with the logo, and it's like two hands with handcuffs on them. And his was black and red stones, bro. Like, he posted a pic of it. And I'm not a jewelry guy at all, but as a kid and as a young rapper, it was just like, fuck, it's for real. You know what I mean? I was like, it's for real. And it said his name on there. It said like Apex Convict or something. I was like, damn.
Trust me. I was excited too, and I was there.
Yeah, dude. I was just like, yo. And then so when I got the feature, bro, I was just like, everybody in my hood on my res already knew who that guy was and already heard all those mixtapes.
That's dope.
So it was just like, when they heard that, it was like, oh, fuck, he's about to blow. You know what I mean?
Everybody, shout out to KD Kane, a dude who really put his money where his mouth was. Not only did this guy support us, but when he wanted to accomplish his own musical dream, he paid a few dollars to get our artist, AWACS, on a record. And, a lot of people talk about that, but not everyone always does it. And salute JSK. I think by the time you post this, Concerned Dabs, I think he'll be out.
Oh, okay.
But he's supposed to be home in a couple days.
Okay.
I don't know when you're posting this, so
no, I'm trying to do it tonight, dude. It's first time recording one of these with Zoom, but it looks like it ain't shit, bro.
Shout out to Zoom for sponsoring us.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So where are we at, man?
So that career kind of, the relationship ended. What happened after that? Did you do any music?
In between that, right? I have my hands in a lot of stuff, and one of the directions and this is partially why it ended now that I look back, because I won't address the bad stuff, just the stuff that's positive. I had really started developing my branding and marketing company.
Yeah.
And so and I had stopped smoking weed. I stopped snorting powder. I got a new girlfriend who became my wife, who was I don't want to say she changed me, but in a positive note, I started hiking and doing human shit, right?
I'm in one of those right now, man.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm no longer, but what I'm saying at this time back then, I was just doing a lot of changing. It had nothing to do with my crew, but it had everything to do with me.
Yeah.
And, the traveling thing wasn't going to work anymore. And here's another thing that's hard for some people to admit. Sometimes you got to know your limitations, right?
Yeah.
And I had done everything I could do.
Yeah. There's a ceiling. You know what I mean?
We had an amazing investor. Wax was a dope ass art. I mean, I don't even have, nothing bad to say about his work ethic like that.
Yeah. Classic music, man.
Talented
writer.
At some point, as a manager, executive producer, friend, a hype man, security guard, whatever I was, you kind of evaluate and you go, well, where am I at with this? What else can I do?
Yeah.
So my branding company was doing well. I was representing some athletes and some well-known local companies.
Juiced Up, bro. I remember those cans of Juiced Up at Huckleberry Jam and shit, bro.
Drink. So we had our hands in so much that it was just, we've taken a little split. We made movies for a while. And I like I said, man, I'd have to like literally go to every moment to, I mean, there was magazines, there was movies, there was energy drinks, but all of that happened during my musical management. So it's not exclusive of it, it's inclusive of it. It happened, you know,
I dig the
while I was at
breakdown.
Huckleberry Jam with you in 2007, 6?
I think it was 08.
08, okay.
August 08, yeah.
So while we're there with the energy drink, I'm, you know, AWACS is getting a convict deal, you know, so all of this is happening kind of simultaneously. So, you know, fast forward a few years, and my branding stuff's doing well. I got a poppin' branding company, firm, whatever you want to call it. And I just started focusing on that. And then that lasted a couple years after that. Mm-hmm. And then unfortunately I caught myself up in a case again. Money got a little slow. And I don't have a problem saying this kind of stuff. You know, I got back slanging.
I don't either, bro. Like it's like
a lot of people are.
I ain't afraid to suffer or admit that I have suffered when everybody thought I was doing really well. You know what I mean? It's
right. I think that's.
It's
I think that's key.
I was skinny because I was only eating one time a day. You know what I mean? It's
thankfully when I got skinny, and it was because of my boys, man. They were good guys at that time. Wax and Lex and a few other people, they were like, "You're not going to sit here and be sad over your divorce. You're going to go to the gym and you're going to sober up." And both of those things happened. Yeah. And I lost a lot of weight, got in shape. Anyway, but when I went off on my own, that lasted a couple of years, and I struggled in that second marriage that I thought was all good. Yeah. It was a rebound marriage. Shout out to her. She wasn't wrong in the equation. I was. Yeah. And I was manic, dude. Like I had depression and I had like over the top, like, you know, highs, right? Yeah. So I was, you know, up and down. And then I found myself like doing street shit again. Yeah. And I've paid for that now legally, so I don't have a problem saying it. Went back to jail, and you know, you find yourself sitting in jail at 40. I guess I was 40, I'm 39. Well, however old I was, right? Yeah. 37, 38. And you're looking at your friends' kids, literally, right? Like I'm in jail with dudes.
With my bro's kid. Yeah.
Literally, right?
What's up? What the fuck, Neff? Because they'd be like, "What up, You know what I mean?
No, that's exactly what was happening. Yeah, I'm running into these 21-year-olds who are in my same gang, right? Yeah. And they're like, "What's up, big homie? You know, woo woo." Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And they're like, "You're B-12," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm a piece of shit." Yeah. Like I'm on coke just like you. Yeah. I'm you know, I'm waiting on my commissary just like you. So it was a super humbling experience. But also what it did for me when I got out was it gave me all this focus. But, and I know a lot of people, I didn't do long at all, did a year. But I'll tell you this, it's so crazy how much you change in a year. Also, when people don't fuck with you, bro. Yeah. Hey, listen, I've got 3 homies in jail right now. I'm talking about like homies I deal with. Yeah. I probably have 50 that I know, right? But I'm just 3 guys I regularly deal with. I put money on all their books this week. Yeah. I had that's good people. Shit. I'm not saying that for credit. I'm not saying it. Here's why I'm saying it. Here's why. In that year, bro, my wife, my daughter, my mother, and my best friend, and he would take, and I'm gonna say this, he collected money from other homies a few times, but mostly it was just him, his own money. So let me just put this in perspective. I've been a part of selling 24 million records in my career. Yeah. From 1994 to 2015 at that moment. Yeah. And I'm not saying anyone owed me anything, KD.
Nah, but people don't really look out. Yeah. Just
like and there are a few people that, you know, maybe they didn't know how bad I was doing. Yeah. But put it this way, if it were reversed, I would have known how bad they were doing and I would have just done something. Yeah. So they didn't even pay enough attention to know B-12 ain't up like y'all think. B-12 is,
Yeah.
You know, but I always put on a good, you know.
Yeah.
I've never worn jewelry. That's not my deal.
I don't either, dude.
So
Ever. Like,
so
no
there's, you know, I
nothing.
always have a brand new fitted on, so it's not like anyone would ever know. Well, you know, is he broke? You know, there was always a car and a house, and you know, but the truth was, bro, I spent a lot of money looking out for people.
Yeah.
But I didn't look out. But look, I didn't look out for my wife and shit first.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fucked up. I came home with a mission, and I really haven't dove back into music as heavy as I'd like to.
Yeah.
One thing I like to say, and this is just for like the fan moment, like I myself recorded 200 songs.
Yeah.
But I never really knew if I was going to release them. What I ended up figuring out was that was my therapy.
Yeah. Well,
Those
like,
songs, KD, let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
I was a better rapper at 38
than
I ever was at 22. I'm talking about songs I was like, damn, how did you say that shit, B?
It's emotion, bro. I tell this to On1 all the time, like, bro, you're always talking tough on your rap songs, but bro, I love the shit you did on Just Like Him, where he talks about his pop on my Petrelli album. It's like that verse makes me want to fucking cry, bro. You know what I mean? Like that emotion is the shit that I think he crushes the most. It's like, yeah, he's got bars and he's a battle rapper and he's a tough motherfucker, but I love the expression of the emotion and the honesty on his song. You know what I mean?
That's funny you say that. In that time that when I came home, I was estranged from my son. I was fighting my sobriety, all these things. I've got hella dope songs about that kind of stuff, but all the songs that are like me trapping, they're corny.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm like, I already did it all.
Yeah.
What else am I like? What are you gonna do at 30? Are you gonna go hang out with your homies who are 21?
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Like, so, I could still rap, but I'm doing something different now.
Right.
Know?
So I shelved a lot of it, and it still felt good to record it. But then what I did was I got into this like a lot of people did. I got into the medical marijuana game.
Yes, talk about that. Yeah, we still got 30 minutes, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna speed it up. Because we can do this forever, and there will be.
But man, we got till 9:30 if you can hang. But I gotta run to the camp. Can you start the story and talk for 2 minutes?
You want me to talk now?
Yeah, for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
and I'll be right back. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when I do this, people are like, "Oh, where'd he go?" And I'm like, "I'm warning you. Can you just tell your cannabis story for 2 minutes, and then I'll jump back in and ask some shit."
So KD Kane is taking a break. He'll be back in 2 and 2.
Yep.
And you're on the Concerned Dabs podcast. This is B-12 if you're just joining us. And we're talking about the medical marijuana game right now and how we would like to be bigger in it. It's a huge business right now, obviously. People like Be Real and of course, Burner. And so many people have capitalized and taken it to the next level. We've got a brand right now called Fresh Air. Clothing line and strains farm. I don't really want to say where we're out of yet, but we took a different route than the California route because it's a lot of constraints and contingencies to be involved in the cannabis game here, California. And I was just late, and we wanted to be ahead of the game, but everybody went legit, so it was time for us to go legit. So Fresh Air, like, it's pretty dope, man. Like, our branding is cool. It's laid back. And shout out to my boy, Ricky Santana. He came up with the name when we were locked up. We were on a violation. And I loved it. And I said, bro, can I run with that? And he's like, yeah, for sure.
I'm back, sir.
You did your thing that quick. I was talking about the Fresh Air brand and how we're going to be launching in 2021.
And it's in Oklahoma?
Yeah. So that looks like where our licensing is going to come through.
Okay.
I also have a small piece of a dispensary in LA.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to say where it is in case a hater.
Yeah, because you might not have you got to get permits from fucking like 4 or 5 different governments in certain cases.
No, we have a dispensary in LA, but I'm just I don't promote it publicly because
it's better to be a silent partner in that shit, especially if it's
because
balling.
I'm not an authority. You know, I'm no burner. I'm no Be Real. Like, I don't know that world.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an old school. Like, is it gold? Is it green? Or is it brown?
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
If you need a guy on the squad, B-12, holler at your boy. My resume looks pretty thick on the gun side, bro. You know what I mean?
So hopefully it will come to a point where we do need you. So we're setting up shop with that. Our dispensary in LA is what's enabling us to kind of focus on this Fresh Air brand that we're doing.
So is Fresh Air, is it a production flower company?
Flower.
Okay. And are you guys breeding also, or just producing? Like, I'm sorry. And if you don't,
no, you're good.
Because I'm like, bro, I'm interested.
So we're producing, but we also have a partner with us who's got a thing called the Clone Library.
Oh, bro, is there a website? Yeah, because
it's getting built.
Okay,
so what
cool.
we're doing
through the mail even.
Yeah, so we've got a whole space dedicated to creating, you know, breeding for people and for ourselves.
Yeah.
So that year round, you know, we're involved in the clone business as well. It's a labor of love. Like, listen, man, you can't come in the game today and be LA Kush or burner. That's already done.
Yeah.
So a person has to find their own lane.
Yeah.
And be comfortable with it.
Yep.
Like, I would like to say that we could become a multi-million-dollar business, but I'm just happy making what I make as a civilian, right?
Yeah, dude. I don't I try not to be about the money so much. It's like as long as my living situation is decent and I can provide a decent living situation for the people on my team working around me, that's acceptable for me. I know there's some people on my team at certain times are going to have more ambition to try and make that $1 million, but I'm like, bro, I saw what I was up against in Oregon trying to get those rec licenses. And it's like, I had the game and the materials, but I didn't have payroll for a fucking year. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, KD. Here's the thing, and this is true in Oregon, Washington, Colorado, California. We're already priced out of those cannabis economies, right? So unless you have millions of dollars to get into it, it's not even worth discussing.
Yeah, and there's some sort of affirmative action type program in Washington that they're working on. But
you gotta jump.
Yeah.
You gotta jump through hoops.
Yeah.
So in our case, I'm like you, man. Like, I got a brother, for example, who's a mechanic, and I always tell him, I say, man, it's so dope. You get a check every 2 weeks, and he's like, it's so dope. You wake up at 11 a.m. if you want.
Yeah.
And it's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, if we can turn this cannabis business into feeding the families of the individuals who are involved, I'm happy.
Yeah, because that's all I could really hope for. That's all I could really sell one of my homies. I can't sell them that we're gonna get rich off rap, that we're gonna get rich off movies. It's like, nah, we could sell this weed and make 2 or 300K in a year, and then everybody else can get salary, and we have a dope Christmas party, and everybody gets bonuses. You know what I mean? Like that's the life to me. You know what I mean?
I said, listen, a teacher makes $60,000 a year with a master's degree. I'm offering you all $60,000 a year without one, but without us even blowing up. If we blow up, we each make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year.
Yeah.
You know,
and you can franchise and get more states and more locations, man. Yeah.
Correct, because as soon as you're in the door in one place, it's easier to get in the others. So that's kind of like where we're at with that. And then also like on a what I like to say, all my careers now are like music adjacent.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
goddamn
recording it. I'm not recording no rappers, right?
Well, dude, I'm breeding. I'm gonna breed a strain that is co-branded with my music in the future. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like, dude, like, yeah.
So that's the hype I'm on too, right?
Yeah.
And so we have that stuff, and then I've got this ReUp brand, which is like, it hasn't fully taken form yet, but I'll talk a little bit about it here. It's like a podcast / television network / I'm going to produce other programming on other people too. But it's just called the ReUp, right? Like, which is real simple for everyone. I mean, we all got to re-up, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's your dope, your music, your you know.
So the ReUp is not totally cannabis then. It's media.
So Fresh Air is cannabis.
Okay.
ReUp is media.
Okay.
Those are my endeavors right now.
Yeah, well, talk about the ReUp some more, then, man. Like,
so
yeah, because I'm into both, but yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why we all have so much in common. So the ReUp is like, we'll be producing a lot of original programming. Some of it I'm going to be involved in, and frankly, just to be honest, and I don't mind waving my own flag on this one.
No,
I know
more
than a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And so you'll find me, like, I don't want to use the word hosting, but I am a host on a few different things, but they're all diverse. Like, and then we're doing a lot of original programming. Like, let me just give you an example. So I don't see Unsung, who did the E40 documentary, or Behind the Music, ever doing an RBL Posse one, right?
Nah, ever, bro. We don't.
But we will.
Yeah, that's why me and Ryan Craig are making movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
We ain't gonna get a fucking budget, dude. We'll do it our goddamn selves and put it on Amazon Prime and sell it. You know what I mean?
So my goal, is that I need to be. So I'm a curator of the culture. Like, if anybody ever asked about me in the streets of the Bay, like, I've been here, not just musically, but in the streets too, and behind the walls. So, like, I think I have a say in what gets curated, right?
Yeah, dude. Fuck MTV, bro. Fuck VH1 and fuck BET
like how I feel.
Bro. You know what I mean?
So I was inspired by Soren Baker. He wrote a book.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say is, you got to get a meeting with Dame Dash, and then after you get the deal, tell him you know a guy with a podcast. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've met Dame before. He's an interesting individual. But like, I'm not a huge fan of DJ Vlad, and I see all this stuff going on, and I'm like, somebody who like has a say in all this shit needs to step up. So that's what I'm doing with ReUp. But I don't. There's not a lot I can tell everyone right now, and I'm not being not being secretive. It hasn't taken its full form yet. Okay. But Fresh Air and ReUp, those are my babies. And then I got a transportation company nowadays. That's how I pay my bills.
Oh, really?
I got a commercial.
It's like Lyft.
Yeah, I got a commercial driver's license.
Dope. That's tight.
No. Like freight.
Oh,
freight.
Okay. Like a trucking company.
Trucks.
Yeah, tight. Yeah, that's dope, bro. That's hella dope.
Yeah, that's in its infant stages, couple years, but it's what I started doing after parole.
Yeah.
And they paid for me to get my license, bro, and it saved my life.
Yeah, that's
because a lot of dudes, they come out of jail and they're like, oh, I'm thugging, I'm doing this. Hey, bro, I was scared to death to go back.
Yeah.
Not because, listen, it's true story. Not because I have problems in jail, but because I liked it too much.
Yeah.
I got too
comfortable.
I was chilling.
Yeah. I'm just watching TV and sleeping. And
I'm chilling.
You know what I mean?
was working out. I'll send you a picture, bro. You're going to trip out when you see me.
Yeah.
And I was like, so anyway, since then, man, this commercial driving thing saved my life. I met some great people in it. But what else it did was it put the fire back on me for my entrepreneurial side.
Yeah.
And so had I not done that, the juices wouldn't have got rolling again for Fresh Air or ReUp.
Yeah.
And I have a passion for both, like just because I'm not a pothead no more doesn't mean, like, I love the weed game. Like, the weed game, it paid my bills, but it also, just so you know, it's the ultimate equalizer, right? Like,
yeah. Well, dude,
you can have a conversation with anyone.
Bro, it took me places I would never been otherwise. If I didn't have that in my trunk and somebody was asking me for it because I smelled like it at the show.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, for real,
right.
bro.
So those are the things, but I'll keep you guys posted. Obviously, when things get further along, I want to come back on, but I want to bring my co-host next time, Captain Save 'em. The E40's Captain Save-A-Ho.
Yeah.
That's my partner. His name's Kevin Dixon. He's a music industry guy.
Okay.
And me and him have a show together that we're going to be doing on the ReUp. which is
Okay.
like me and him and like a music type dude like a Master P or an actor or so it's gonna be fun, man. But that's my partner, and he's doing his thing. He's got a weed strain, and then I have a book, and that's part of the ReUp media thing. But it's called What a Long Strange Trip It's Been: The History of Bay Area Rap.
Ah, bro.
It's a reference. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, man. It's Hunter S. Thompson, right?
Well, it's Grateful Dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I've been doing acid lately, bro, and watching fucking Fear and Loathing. Yeah.
They're closely related. So, what a long strange trip it's been. Like, I'm a white boy from the projects of San Francisco who ended up at the upper echelons of hip hop, only to be like right back where I started in a way. And all of it was been like a beautiful journey because I only started liking myself in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And you don't know that, bro. You don't know that when you don't know that you don't like yourself until you're fully like morphed, and then you go.
Well, like for me, dude, it took just being by myself in Phoenix in the desert in my own apartment by myself, just going to work for 2 years. You know what I mean? It's like the sun burned the bullshit off me, my shadow shedded skin, and I just felt better. It's like when I got into this relationship and she invited me to move back to my region, it was like,
congrats.
Yeah, it was like, all right.
But I know what you're saying.
And since I've been here, it's been all right, bro. Like I've been.
Me too, dude.
Like podcasting, like it's been okay. I can't complain.
I've had more money. I've had more fame. I've even had a busier phone, right? Meaning like not so dry, but like I don't have any worries in my life.
Yeah.
And to quote Haystack on one of my favorite songs from him, it's another artist I worked with for years. Haystack had he says at this point, he said, why would I? It was something like this. It was the song "Still You Doubted Me." I want you to look this one up.
Okay.
But really dope song, and he's like,
right there,
I don't have it for verbatim, but he says something like, in his Southern Tennessee drawl, he goes, why would I still be smoking considering all I've lost to cancer? Right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, at this point, if I take any other losses in life, they'll be substantial.
Yeah.
And the only problems at this point I have are financial. I completely fucked all of that up.
No, but I get it. I could dig it.
So here's the energy, right? Like, I've lost so many homies to the streets. I've lost excellent, 2 very good marriages. I would have never lost the first one if I could have avoided it, but I missed out on time with my children. I lost some relationships that I can't fully say at this point now. They wasn't all my fault. Some of it had to be. Some of it had to be, So this is where I'm going with this. Anything wrong with me at this point in my life is just financial. Because everything else is together.
Yeah.
Right. So if I have a problem, it's just, oh damn, I can't go to Athens, Greece because I don't have the money. But it's but it's not, oh, I can't pay my rent because I don't have the money. Because I can.
Yeah.
Right. I do pay my rent. So like the blessings are abundant. The growth has been beautiful. And my relationships with the people and by the way, I want to obviously we skipped a lot of stuff, but almost everyone I ever fucked with, I still fuck with.
Yeah, same.
And that's the beauty, right? Like,
same.
I fell out with a few people, but I'm going to just leave it at this. But that list is hella small. And the list of people that reached back to me during that time was long.
Yeah. And this is the thing I'll say too, is like my block list on Facebook is really fucking short. But anybody on that list still has my fucking phone number and they know what's up. You know what I mean?
I heard that. Well said. So I got 2 stories for you.
All
right. So we've covered those things. I just want to make sure.
Wow. Yeah. One from Bash and one from Mac Dre. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So let me say, I want to say this, and I always give credit where it's due.
Yep.
I knew Baby Bash, aka Baby Beesh.
Yeah.
Separately, and outside of my relationship with JT. However, that relationship and bond became closer because of my relationship with JT, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my story about Bash is, first thing is, the first record label I ever owned in 1995, I was barely 18. Me and Derek B owned a company called High Powered Entertainment. We had offices, we had money, and the first group I signed was Pot and the Deuce, which was Bash's group. They were on Profile Records the year before. They got dropped due to or they left the label. But anyway, long story short, they were popular, and me and Derek were able to sign them.
Yeah.
So Bash would go on to become huge, right? Bash now is one of the biggest artists the Bay's ever had. You know, Cyclone.
I remember
Cyclone
him
is a 3 million. It's a 3 million seller, one of the biggest singles ever.
Bro,
And,
I was DJing in college at that time. I let that shit drop at 12:30 and watch him wild the fuck out, bro.
So what I want to say about Bash and why he's so solid, I don't speak to him every day or anything, or, you know, it's not like we hang out, but whenever we would encounter each other, or if my name would come up, he like gave me a credit, like a props that I might not have deserved because I was a little snot back.
Yeah.
You know, I was a little egomaniac, like tough guy back then. And Bash would tell people, you know, first record deal I ever got was from B-12. And that gave me a lot of juice.
Yeah.
Because he's, you know,
hell yeah,
he's bigging me up. And
Platinum.
then the second
man.
And second small story about Bash is when we were on tour with JT during our, you know, when we started popping again with Baby Girl and he had Sugar Sugar, Bash was the man. And, you know, I'd be walking by him with a female and he would like tell the female, like, make sure you take care of my nephew.
Yeah.
So
player
so
shit,
I don't have
man.
Yeah, super solid.
Yeah.
Super solid.
That's
and I got a million.
He seems like a real cool cat, man. I remember him as SP Mex's little homie, and then that On the Cool album, bro. Like he's like posted up, man. I'm just posted up. I was like, dude, this is fucking dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun making the JT and Baby Beach album, Velvetism. So anyway, that's my Bash story, and I got a lot more, but I'll tell you, when I was young, I think I was intimidated by the fact that he was also a super outgoing Libra, and in his world, he was the man, right?
Yeah.
Well, in my world, I was the man.
Yeah.
So I think I had this little bit. I was probably a hater a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
When I was young.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know, now that I'm older, I can. So when we got older, I saw how much class he had by like bigging me up when he didn't need to, because he could just as soon, right, ignore me.
Yeah. Because I still do that too with artists that I fell out with. It's like, on this project, it was dope, and it came out, and it was fire. You know what I mean?
Oh, what? I can't say nothing bad about AWACS. We fed our families together for years. What the fuck? Like, I'm not gonna say no. Even if he says something bad about me, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not trying to stir that pot or nothing, man.
No, I know you're not, but
based on principle, yeah, hell yeah,
I'm agreeing with you, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to anybody I ever broke bread with, because
serious, bro, serious.
Because let me tell you something.
On music or anything else, bro.
Well, because think about how many people.
If you plug me in with anything, thank you. You know.
Yeah, think about how many people never made $1 off their dream. We're blessed.
Yeah.
So that's Cool Mac Dre's story.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Man, I've got a few, but I don't want to waste them all. So, and I'm not necessarily like claiming to be a Mac Dre authority. Let me say this: Mac Dre, another one. I met him on my own. But because JT used to bring me around him, Dre showed me a lot of love, dude. So here's the story. Rest in peace, Psycho from Portland.
Yeah.
Okay. We're at
dude.
Mac Dre's little studio in Sacramento. Me and JT went up there to do some verses with him. And at this time, me and JT were living in Sac. So this must be 03, 04, right before Dre passed, something like that. Psycho's there. And, you know, JT used to call me the toter, right?
Yeah.
Because
I got the bag. Yeah.
I towed it, right?
You got one? You need one? You know what I mean? Like, bro, if not, it's cool if not, but let me know if you.
JT was like, so JT, and that's another dude who always gasses me up to this day. If you go look at my Facebook right now, JT gassed me up on my birthday, gassed me up during the 49ers game, whatever. He's just a good, solid dude. And another one of my mentors and also someone I could say I legitimately have always looked up to. But JT, you know, we're kind of equals because I'm his manager and his friend. And he tells Mac Dre, he goes, you know, 12er is toting right now. Hey, and Mac Dre, look, his eyes went like this. He's like, B-12, show me. And I was like, oh, man, you know, I'm not trying to. And I didn't want to be disrespectful like I'm whipping out a gun. But I pulled out, I had a 40 cal Glock 23, right? And Dre looked at it. He was like, oh, we're doing a song. So we recorded a song.
Dope.
On the spot. So check this out. This is why it was such an honor. And another reason I love JT and Dre. Bro, they didn't need to rap with me.
Yeah.
I'm B-12. I mean, like, if you want to stroke my ego because I'm an executive, maybe, but you know, I'm the little homie. I'm not even like an accomplished rapper.
Yeah.
But you know, they liked my get down and we did this song and I gassed it. I still remember it was a psycho beat. Me and JT did our thing. There was a lot of 40 caliber references in it. It was real street. And it was gonna go on, get a load of this, man. It was gonna go on Genie of the Lamp.
Duh. Hell yeah. Well, because that's dude, man. I love when it's inspirational on the spot.
Hold on.
And
it might have been Thizelle Washington. It was going on one of them records, but check this out.
He had those album covers down, bro. Like I remember just like I gotta buy that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, we hooked Shemp up with him. That's another story. But bro, we lost the file.
Son of a bitch.
So there was a song. And even after he passed away, you know, I used to wish, you know, because what a great like I treasured the time I had around him. And let me say this. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Not just because he's Mac Dre the rapper, but because he was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Like what I'm telling you,
good
the
people,
jokes
man.
he made. So there's a YouTube with Mac Dre and my son. I'll forward it to you for your own laughing.
Okay.
But Dre's at my house, and Dre used to cap on me just like I would cap on him.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys say it in the Northwest, but
hey, well, you know, TJ and On1 do that to each other all the time. I try and just be nice to my homies. You know what I mean?
So
and if they want to dish it out, though, it's like, hey, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
So Dre picks up this bottle of champagne I have, and in classic Dre fashion, he goes, this bottle old as fuck. I don't know. He goes, is it champagne or is it wine that's supposed to be old? And he smells and he goes, this motherfucker might fuck around and explode. And you know, it was just
busting bars. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just all funny. And my son was there. I was filming, and we actually have my son on camera with Dre. My son treasures that to this day. Yeah. And he's like, what's up to the mob boss Zozo? And he names, you know, my son Lorenzo. Yeah. And it was pretty dope. Yeah. And so Dre gave me, and you know, we were on tour with him, Bend, Oregon, Warm Springs. Like, he was just a real genuine dude. I can honestly say, other than Cougnut from Frisco, from where I'm from, my first true influence of any rapper, I was in the California Youth Authorities, you know, juvenile hall for kids. Yeah. And I had a Mac Dre tape from Music by Mail, which is the mail service. Yeah. And I can recite you like, listen up, I'm about to get dope. Yeah. It ain't nothing but some shit I wrote about a young brother.
That shit's it's in my Serato right now, bro. You know what I mean?
But you know, everyone else's experience with him seems to more be like
for the fucking radio.
You know, like Sis, right? Everybody, the newer generation.
Well, dude, like I had heard him on the Black Elation and then on a bunch of like Master P on that West Coast Bad Boys too.
Boys. Yep.
Yeah. Every time I rap, I bust what you like, cause I'm the coldest MC to ever touch a mic. I was like, holy fuck, man.
We got a gold plaque from that because 11.5 has a song on there.
Yeah, dude, that was before Thiz, and so when Thiz started happening, it took a while for the pills to reach where I was at, you know what I mean? But then it was like, okay, I get it now, you know what I mean? Like the style changed drastically. A movement. Yeah, it did, bro. It did.
But to put it in perspective,
it was a big fucking wave for like 4 or 5 years, bro.
To put it in perspective, though, for people who might not know, or maybe they do and they never think about it, I was 11 years old in 1988 listening to Mac Dre. So you have to understand, he influenced a whole nother generation in 2004.
Yeah, he did.
Just do the math on that. I want you to do the math.
Well, it was because because I was in high school when the shit I just told you that I knew him from, when that shit came out. And then when I was in college, I remember DJing. It was my sister and some of my little cousins and some of my little I DJ'd their senior prom. And it was super hyphy and Thizzle Dance and Get Stupid. I had edited versions of all that shit. And it was, bro. It was literally more than 10 years later after I was jamming it in my high school years. You know what I mean? So it was.
Check it out. And look at 2011 when Drake referenced him. So what I'm saying is the cultural impact he has without saying. But I get to say a dude I idolized, didn't know anything about. I listened to him as a kid. Later on, I'll do music with him, hang out with him, clown with him. So like when people complain about their life, I just go, man, mine's already been popping.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to sound morbid here, right? But if there's nothing else but me driving a truck or selling weed, or I did it already. I did it with my favorite people on the planet.
Hell yeah.
And I did it in a time that can't be recreated.
It can't. I had that same conversation with Ryan Craig like 4 or 5 days ago. He's like,
shout out to Ryan. I really like Ryan's a good human.
Yeah. He said, dude, it was dope to put our music in our movie, but that movie was marking that period in time. Like, we're not trying to do no tour off of that soundtrack or anything. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, we accepted as fuck. That was fun, and now we're gonna do something different at this age. That's also fun.
That's also fun, and something that's worthy. I think this is the buzzword. Like, whatever you do, this is for anybody who might catch us talking. Listen to my voice. Like, whatever you do, just think about it in context of your legacy. Like, when I'm gone, my stories go with me, but there's a few newspaper articles, there's a few magazine ads, there's a few, like, so like when we go do something, whatever you're doing, go to do it with the thought of like, is this match the legacy you want to leave?
Yeah.
I'm not an old head. Like, check me out, Katie. I'm still a fly, young, fat, old dude.
I got a couple more years before 40. I still got a couple more years.
I'm over 40, but what I'm saying is I'm not like a corny old dude going, oh, man, what's wrong with these rap? No.
Me neither.
Listen, the same old rappers looked at me and my friends that way.
Yeah.
I refuse to be that guy.
Yeah.
Because I think it's beautiful that there are kids right now from the cities I live in getting gold plaques.
Yeah.
The Bay stopped getting gold records years ago.
Yeah.
So when they reworked, excuse me, the RIAA certification for gold albums.
Yeah, they adjusted it for streams. Yeah.
Well, they had to, right? Because you can't sell 500,000 CDs anymore.
Fuck no, you can't. I don't care who you are.
So look, when In Too Deep went gold, that bar was high.
Yeah.
But now for Mozzie, who has a gold single, well, that doesn't mean he sold 100,000 records, but whatever he did, it's an accomplishment.
Yeah, I like his shit too, dude. Like,
I think Mozzie's dope. But I say all of that just to say, like, every time, like, I can't understand about Herbie Lovebug and DJ Starsky and Kool Herc. I can't.
I don't. I didn't hear that shit.
No, but even though I understand it was important.
Yeah. It didn't mark a period in time in my life. You know what I mean?
Or mine, and I'm older than you.
Yeah.
So Spice One is not going to mark a period of time for my son, who's 20 years old. And guess what? That's okay.
Yeah.
Because in 20 years, when I'm 60 something and you're 50 something, and maybe your kid's 30, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to look at everything as a whole and say, this is timeless, and oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah. And that's I don't get to spend a lot of time with my son, but when I do, if we're in the car or we have an hour where we're gonna cook or we're gonna do some chores or something, we're gonna listen to some music. And J. Cole is the shit that when I play that for him, that's what he remembers and he wants to hear again. You know what I mean? I'm like, what do you want to listen to? He's like, J. Cole. He's like, play that shit. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Because I try not to, because I try to play Tool and all this other shit around him. You know what I mean?
And
like, yo, check this. Nah,
shit, bro.
He likes Cole.
You don't want to hear that shit, bro.
Yeah.
My son, the other day we were riding together, and I told him a story. My youngest son, his name's Lorenzo, right? And you know, his mother's name is Lorena, and he has an uncle named Lorenzo. And you might think, okay, follow me, that his name was named for them.
Yeah.
But if you know me, and I just got done telling you, I listened to Mac Dre at 88.
Yeah.
My son was not named for that. My son was named for me and Lorenzo riding in a Benzo.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's tight, man. That's
okay. So even my ex-wife, people will go, "Oh, that's so cute. Your son's named after you," and she's got this look like, no, my son was named by Ice Cube.
Yeah, that's tight.
You know, or Will Smith on Summertime when he said, or in your Nissan sitting on Lorenzo's. You know, like.
I got a big homie on my res. His boy is grown now. He's probably like 21, but his name is O'Shea, the boy. You know what I mean? Same reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cool.
So as I'm telling my son this story, he actually starts going on his Spotify and he says, "Dad, name me the 15 dopest like songs." So I sat there with him like Children's Story, Slick Rick, Wild Wild West, Cool Mo D, Paperboy the Diddy, Enter D, Back to the Hotel. I'm just naming. You know, Spice One, Welcome to the Ghetto, like, and my son has a 25 song playlist now that's reflective of my youth, not his.
Yeah.
That he be because he's like, oh, these are all dope. Yeah. And here's what I mean by that. When we're looking back, we may or may not like every song that came out today in 20 years. Yeah. But there will be some. Yeah. I know J. Cole will be some of it. I know Drake will be some of it. You know, like, because now that I listen to my mother's music, you can identify immediately, like, you know, oh shit, that's the show. Oh, this the shit, like, you don't have to bump James Brown to understand how good he is.
No doubt.
You know,
I agree, man.
Those are my. You know what I like to tell people, KD. When I write my book, if I ever do my own book, not the book about Bay Area hip hop, but like my story.
Yeah.
What I prefer when people say, "Man, you got a dope story," I say, "Man, actually, I've just had a really dope seat at everybody else's story."
No doubt. And that's I try to take that perspective in shit that I work on the past few years. It's like I don't care, like I can show up and be a guest on the show. It's like, if you guys need help with anything, I'll show up, bro. I don't have to be on camera on the mic. If you need help writing down ideas for your script, like, I don't give a shit, dude. Like, I want to see it happen because it's going to inspire me to do something on my end, man, in the same vein. I mean, so I fiend for creative homies to be around me, and that's cool.
Me too, bro.
It's cool being back home because I have that. I got TJ on one. I got my cousins Tello, Rolo, Dash is down there. Like, it's Tyrant's in Portland. Ryan Craig is in Yakima. Like, it's I get that fix. Not every time I want it, but fucking often, bro. Way more often than I did the 2 years I was in Phoenix. I had my engineer homie in Phoenix and my neighbor homie in Phoenix. And there was a little homie that I met at T-Mobile, but he's a young buck. He liked to go party and shit. I'm like, bro, I'm in the crib. Holler when you want some nugs, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool to have our own vantage point on history being written.
Yeah.
You know, like SOB is a big rap group from the Bay. They're youngsters.
Yeah.
They're not, I had nothing to do with them, but I watched them because one of them is best friends with my godson. So after he was cleaning my yard for $12 an hour, one of those guys was going home and recording records now that possibly made it on the Black Panther soundtrack.
Yeah. That's dope, bro.
So that's my event, right? So it's not my story, but I get to tell other people's, and that's why, KD, the same reason you have the podcast, it's the same reason I'm writing a book, the same reason I'm going to do my shows, because I believe I'm a fair storyteller. I'm not going to like, oh man, I was up there with, I'm going to actually say, oh, I got the shit slapped out of me. I'm going to tell
and that's
all
why
of it.
That's why I dig the podcast. I'm not going to edit any of your shit out and say, you know, it's like, it's long form, and I'm not getting 2 quotes. The whole fucking shit is a quote. You know what I mean? It's the story from his lips. I'm just asking questions.
And when I saw you doing it, I told JSK, I said, man, shout out to KD for just doing it. Let alone, hey, check it out, 78 times.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Because me and Derek B, we only have 10 episodes of our Music Biz Monday, and then we fell off a little.
Keep going, dude. Keep going, man. It doesn't matter if you skip a little bit. Like, keep making more, man. Joe Rogan started in 08, 09. He didn't get that fucking Spotify deal till 11 years later. 12 years later. You know what I mean? And he's on episode like 1300 something when he got the deal. You know what I mean?
So what are you guys doing it weekly?
Yeah.
Cool.
I thank you for forcing me into this Zoom situation. I can't do what my IT guys, Mitchell and Jess, do as far as the Discord and the OBS and casting it to YouTube. So you were like, man, just fucking download fucking Zoom. And
that's what Derek made me do for our.
Yeah, dude. So I would just like, I'm gonna just pay the $15 because we're doing Zoom meetings for the
well,
movie.
Let me know if you want me to cash app you $750.
Oh no, hell no, bro. I got it. Like, it's nothing, man.
I'm not suggesting you don't.
Well, no, because there's certain homies will ask me, how can I do this? And I'm like, you need this piece of equipment. It costs this much money. And they're like, man, can I do it? I was like, you could try. But if you just do this, it's gonna fucking work. And I've had that. I've had that told to me before by my producers and people who I was like, yeah. And Tyrant's like, dude, just spend the $500 on the fucking 8-channel Scarlett, and you can show up to band practice and mic everything up. You know what I mean? And so I just did it, and it worked. It worked. You know what I mean? So I try to just be honest. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, because it is, dude. Like, anybody who's gonna do it, it doesn't matter how popular it is. It's like, nah, I'm gonna support it because nobody pushed me. Like, we had to push each other. And so if anybody else has that ambition, I'm trying to push them the same way. Like, every few weeks, like every now and again, TJ and On One, their podcast is called Beers, Bongs, and Bullshit. They'll invite me over there when a guest flakes out or something, and I'm like, hell yeah. And it's fun every single time. Sometimes we'll watch the fights, but we just get the bullshit, and everybody's had music experience and doing all kinds of different shit. So it's just fun. Like,
right.
I fucking hate humans, B-12. You know what I mean?
Me
but
too.
The music.
Why do you think?
But the music homies, the music homies are all right though. You know what I mean?
Whenever I get a chance to say someone's a good human, and I've said it a few times on this podcast.
Yeah.
The reason I do that is I'm actually notoriously a dickhead.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to think that, like I told you, that version of myself is gone. Yeah. But there's still an element of me that I don't like nonsense, though.
Me neither. Yeah.
So when somebody's solid, I love giving it up to them, because all I would hope, KD, it's actually for a selfish reason. I'm hoping they say the same about me if they believe it.
Yes.
That's it.
Like I told my lady this earlier, I was jamming fucking Jim Miller Band. I said, I always tell people that my name is good from Phoenix to Tacoma. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, and that's, I don't fuck people over. I'm solid, man. You know what I mean?
If somebody doesn't like me, it has to be purely on a difference in opinion.
Yeah.
It can't be because I did them dirty. because I've done myself dirty more than anyone else.
Hell yeah, man. I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, shit, dude, we're at like hour and 44 minutes now, man. So, is there? I don't want to cut you off, but I feel like two hours is probably a good limit. If we got 15 minutes left,
we're good.
Is there any ideas or? Oh no, wait, fuck, dude. I'm glad I remembered. I forgot I forgot to ask Smurf this from Portland when he was on the show, but everybody, especially who's a business person, it's two-sided question. First side is the good side. What do you feel has been your best move on the path to where you're at right now? And maybe it's not one move, one behavior. You know what I mean? Like what? You know what I mean?
How about I sum it up like this? It comes to me immediately. That's how I know it's not thought of. The best move I ever made was believing in other people.
Dope.
So I always believed in me, but we'll just give you a real quick. But I was a little white boy from the ghetto that people outside of my own ghetto didn't know anything about me at one point, right? So I knew there was going to be a lot of obstacles and opposition to what I wanted to accomplish. And, you know, back when I'm talking about long before I had any success, because I started as a rapper.
Yeah.
I couldn't show my gun to everyone to show them I was real. I couldn't, you know, there was no way to convey that. So what I did was I created alliances, right? And they were like-minded people that also kind of had similar dream. So I believed literally in hundreds of people in my career. Now that I want to say that to say that doesn't mean it worked.
No,
but
no.
I kept believing in people.
I know what you're talking about. I brought every single one of my little homies to Portland to meet RPM and Tyrant and everybody and get their phone number, their email. You can buy these beats for the same price I get them for. Do what you fucking want to do. What anybody did after that is up to them. You know what I mean?
So I agree. And so what I found on that path is I ended up with a Derek B and a Johnny Z and a Rob Nonies and a Tay to Tay and a Bobby Ford and a JSK. Like a collection of individuals that we may have gone our own paths now, but the kinship, the fellowship, the relationship,
the camaraderie.
Right. Yeah, comrades. That sticks because there was something genuine.
Yeah.
Like me and JT may never make another song together, but no one can ever take away the songs we made.
Yeah.
Dude, like I have a song with Mac Dre, me as a rapper.
That's tight.
That's out. I'm not talking about the one that got lost. I'm talking about one that came out.
Which one is that?
It's called Mashing Out. Me, Mac Dre, and JT. It's on one of Mac Dre and JT's album. But I'm just saying, like, when I made it, it wasn't a big deal because that's my homie Mac Dre.
Yeah.
But
you never know who somebody's gonna turn into, man.
Well, he was already someone, but what I mean is I guess I rapped with a lot of famous people. But like, never did I think in 2020, people would go, man, I didn't know. I heard you on a song with Mac Dre. You know, people have nothing to do with my history. So I believed in people. That's the answer, man. Best thing I ever did was believed in others. But then that leads to, but then I believed in myself too, because I got told it wouldn't work, bro.
Yeah.
And I never got rich. You know, a lot of people tell you I got rich. But let me just.
I didn't either, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't either. I talk about the ups and downs as much as I can.
You have to, right?
As equally as I can too. You know?
I have a sister who, up until a few years ago, would ask me at Thanksgiving every year, "Do you have a job yet?" Listen here, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
I bought this house. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And when the fuck was the last time I asked you for money? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah.
So I believed in others and I believed in myself. That's that. So what's part two?
Yeah, that's dope. Part two is, what do you feel has been your biggest mistake on the path to where you're at right now?
Believing in others.
Ah, dude, same answer. It was the same day. It reminds me of City Slickers, bro. Yeah,
same.
Yeah.
No. So let me tell you, okay? I can talk about
because I didn't want to respond to your first answer because I'm just like, bro, it never worked out for me. You know what I mean? So that's the, I don't want to interrupt, man, but yeah.
Plenty have worked out. I just told you, I made a whole list, right?
Okay.
I made a whole list. I ran down 10 people that I still have great, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't name 50 people.
Yeah.
And I spent time and more importantly, I spent money and more importantly, time that I can never get back.
Yeah.
I have moments, you know, like, let me just, small example, since you're a Northwest guy. One of my favorite places to perform is Rosita's in Walla Walla. I don't even think it's there. I don't think it's there anymore.
I don't think I ever rocked there before, man.
Mexican restaurant, small stage, but we used to pack it.
Okay.
We would go there 3 times a year.
Yeah.
I had 3 different friends at all 3 times I would go there every year. Does that equate? So every time I went on the road, I would expose JT or whoever I'm with to new individuals that I wanted to experience the life.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. Back then, JT had a little bit of you know what I mean? But he was a good sport about it. But he knew, like him, Tay, I'm going to say this. All my older bros, dude, the ones that are older than me, that came before me in music, they all saw the mistakes I was making and tried to correct them for me, but they knew they couldn't.
Yeah.
Because I was a boss from the beginning, you know. So like,
certain people can't tell me shit. You know what I mean?
Well,
they just can't.
Because I already. So my mentality was, well, what are you gonna tell me if I already did all the shit that's popping? I'm the reason this, you know. So it's the same answer, KDM Kane. It's the biggest mistake was I believing in too many people, and then the second part of that same answer is and not believing in myself enough.
Yeah. Well, because I get a lot of messages online from aspiring native hip hop rappers. You know what I mean?
That's an important listen.
And I try not to be an asshole. I tell them, look, dude, if you want a verse from me, it costs $200. If you don't want to message me anymore after that, then that's fine, bro. That's usually where it ends. But I'll tell you this, don't expect anybody else to believe in you more than you believe in yourself. If you're not going to put those dollars up on your own, you can't expect somebody to match you or give you more than that.
Period.
You know what I mean?
It's just like the dope game.
It is, dude. It is. Like if you come through and buy fucking 4, he'll throw you 4 on top if you do it 2 weeks in a row, bro.
Hello.
You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. So
and I want to also say, welcome home, Miami the Most.
Oh, dope, man. He's from Thiz, right? Thiz Records?
Yep.
Okay.
He's been home a few months from prison, but I've been talking to him lately. I got to go see him soon. I haven't seen him. But today I made my rounds. I saw Tay. I'm going to go see JT. I got to go see Miami because, man, life is short, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I try to enjoy the time with my friends, too, because we could get hit by a bus or the bombs could drop. You know what I mean? Like, who fucking knows? Like,
right.
I want to know that I enjoyed the time that I had here. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I do that by spending it doing shit I like podcasting and making music and movies and writing and shit like that.
Same here, man. God is great.
Yeah.
Or the creator, depending on what, you know.
Yeah.
But I want to say something about you being, you brought up the native thing. And even though this is a this is a non-genre specific conversation.
Yeah.
I want to get specific because I want people to know that I'm in touch. Like, I'm from the hood and I'm this and that, but I know about my native people. And I'm going to tell you the same thing I told JSK and Pete Yellowbird and all my other boys who are from that world. You guys have a huge responsibility because even though there's been native rap since time immemorial, so to speak, there still has never been that many that have made it, right?
Yeah.
And so you guys having had some experience in the real world, you guys have a huge responsibility to these dudes. And the same way I used to pick up my phone at Bayside and take a chance on random dudes.
Yeah.
I encourage you guys to do that with your gente because that was a little Spanish.
Yeah. I dig it.
Because you don't want to minimalize your role. Like the average, Black or Chicano rapper from LA might not understand that there's a whole native rap community, but because I do, and I've been there, and I know where you guys sit in that echelon, you, Ryan Craig, JSK, Savage Fam,
Yeah.
all those guys, you guys got to keep doing it and making it look good.
Yeah.
Because there's so many that don't make it look good or make it sound good that you guys set the bar. The other day when me and you had a conversation, I might have mentioned this to you. Let me see if I can find it fast. I had heard a Ryan Craig song I hadn't heard in ever.
Was it from Nervous Breakdown?
No, it was just a video he did. It sounded like an old Cholo beat, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Because I might like young rap.
Yeah.
Like Polo G and shit like that, but I still like to bump fucking some,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Let me see if I can find it real fast, just so I know what I'm talking about. All That We Had.
Oh yeah, where it's the young version of him and the young version of Mystic, right? Yeah.
Dope video, dope concept.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like an old LAD, Riding Low. I don't know if you remember that Cholo song.
I don't. Man.
Well, look it up,
Okay.
or Lighter Shade of Brown, My Homies. Anyway, shout out to Ryan. I don't really ever speak to Ryan just because of life, but that song, I found it the other day on accident when me and you were talking.
Word.
And I think it's cool, man, that you guys keep doing it. So keep doing it.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate the support, man. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show, because you are a very influential person as far as the industry goes and the shit that I've listened to growing up. So it's dope to get to ask you questions on my podcast. You know what I mean? Because certain guests I'm excited about, but this one, it was cool because a couple rap homies hit me up like, yo, is it that guy? I'm like, yeah, it's that guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah.
Like I said, I've been just blessed to be here and in life period, making it through all this. And if there's one person on earth that wants to hear what I have to say, I'll keep saying it, just because that's all, like I said, just not to preach too much, but that's all we're going to have. Me and you, when this world's over, our written word, our spoken word, our recorded word, that's our history. That's our, and I don't want to misquote anything or seem mystical like native, but it's like the oral traditions of the native people. Like, this is us. We're doing that right now. Yeah,
that's I am trying to document what I think is important as far as this time period and people that I know.
You too, sir, are a cultural curator.
Thanks, man.
And that's what we have. We have a responsibility. So before we build up our communities, and we have to do that too, right? Like Nipsey Hussle did a lot, but I think a lot of dudes are like pump faking right now, acting like they're baby Nipseys.
Yeah.
They don't know what went on behind the scenes.
Nah, bro.
And so
you gotta be good at math and reading to be that. You know what I mean?
I think it even goes further, right? Like, you also have to be like a good human, right?
Yes, you can't fake that.
And I'm gonna tell you, there was a time I've said it already more than once, the time in my life, I probably thought I was a good human, but maybe some of the shit I did behind the scenes wasn't solid.
Yeah.
Cheating on a woman or beating up someone weaker than me. I don't know, just whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, like, to right the wrongs we may have all participated in, we first have to acknowledge them. And then we have to do like the treatment phase, which is like
the 12-step dance.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let go, let God, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when you get through that, if you still like yourself, if you're still feeling yourself, then by all means start a nonprofit for your community. But don't go out in the world with toxic energy thinking you're positive.
Yeah.
Right? And
I agree.
That's what's happening. So the first step for us as rappers, writers, producers, trappers, gangsters, the Smurf Lucianos of the world, who has a great story himself about his lineage and what he's done in his life. our first step needs to be record it, right? Document it. We're doing it now.
Yeah.
And then once we've done that, start the other stuff.
Yeah. Because it is, dude. Like I tell TJ and On this, I'm like, dude, I don't fucking watch the news. It's the same everywhere in the world. Like,
debilitating.
I'd rather catch stories from actual people, not blurbs and sound bites. You know what I mean? Like I with an agenda. Like I'm trying to contribute to that. You know, the new forms of media. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm embracing it too, man. We'll see how these next couple of years go. But it was my pleasure, and thank you for having me, man. And there's other dope stories, and one day I'll tell more, because there's, I put out the Outlaws. That was a great experience.
Yeah, dude. I would love to have you back and ask more questions, dude.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be in a little different space and have some other cool stuff to talk about. And maybe, we'll bring on another guy that we'll talk to,
Yeah, man. We've had 3 guys on one time that I was interviewing a couple different times, so we could do that. And then can you also drop your social media for anybody who wants to follow?
Sure. So I'm on Instagram. I don't post as much as I'd like, but I'm definitely, it's there. For anybody who needs to follow me there, it's at 12, the number 12, and then spelled out 100. So at 1200.
Okay.
HUNDRED. On Facebook, it's real simple. It's facebook.com/the real B-12.
Okay.
Spelled out, no ebonics, THEREALB12.
Okay. Do you do Twitter at all?
Dude, I'm on Twitter, and I
don't fucking do it that much.
I'm gonna tell you why. The intellectuals use Twitter, and I think of myself as an intellectual.
Me too.
It's just I haven't been on, but yeah, it's Baby Mo 12. That's my hood name. BABYMOE 12. Baby Mo. My oldest brother, rest in peace, he was Big Mo. My middle brother is Little Mo, and I was Baby Mo. That's my hood name before B-12.
That's dope, man. Tiny Lokes, and they go crazy, man.
Yeah, we're the Mo's. Mo's. We're that was our nicknames.
That's
from
dope.
the hood. But yeah, man, I love to see what you're doing with it. I'm gonna keep checking it out, and let's pump it out there for people to see, man. And I know you guys are gonna keep growing this format, and
try my best, man. Staying consistent every week. Sometimes people,
I love it.
Shit happens, but
you inspire me, man. 79 is next week.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we got he's a Dr. Daniel. It's Dr. Daniel Emmett on the show next week.
Check it out.
He's a psychiatry.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, he's fucking super fancy. I stayed with him for a couple months. He's got mad gardening game too, so.
Is this somewhere you learned to drop LSD?
No, he never put me. I know he's been on that before, but he was just a solid guy who helped me out. And
I'm just playing. That's dope.
He's still a solid guy, so I want to ask him about his career and his cannabis stuff too. So
hey, tell him he needs to set up a hip hop practice and start counseling these rappers.
Yeah, dude.
We got a lot of dudes in their feelings, man.
Well, dude, I had Deacon Jones. He's from my town. It was episode 30 or 40 something. It was in March. But he has a treatment program that's like healing through hip hop for kids. You know what I mean? So kids that are in treatment, he gets them for a day and puts them in the studio and helps them write a song and record it.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and check that episode out.
Yeah, he's a solid dude, man. I'm a real fan of that guy's work, and he's Nimi Poo also, bro. So I'd love that, dude.
Okay.
He's dope, yeah. But
him native.
Yeah, but it's 10 o'clock now. B-12, it's getting late. Everybody wants to crash out, smoke one. I thank you for taking the time to come on my show.
Thank you for having me,
everybody can follow him online. I'll send you the link to the YouTube and the Spotify one. It usually takes Spotify a couple days, so
all good.
Yeah, I'll send you the links. Yeah, dude, and anytime you want to come back, bro. You know what I mean?
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
and we'll have you guys on something real soon, man. Thank you.
Yeah, hit me up, dude. You got my number. Dude. Much love. I appreciate it.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Katie Kane, man.
Yeah. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna do my outro dance. This was the 78th episode of Concerned Dads Podcast. I was your host, Katie M. Kane. My guest tonight, B-12, the music mogul, cannabis industrialist, Super cool cat all around, man.
Thank you.
Future author. Just all around, man. Extraordinary.
Thank you,
man.
man.
Follow the guy online. I'm a fan of his work, man. Look at some
Right on.
he's done.
Salute.
And I also got to give a shout out to my guys in production, Mitchell Wilson and Jesse Curry. This has been a Main Node and Joseph Street Enterprise production. Okay.
Peace out, brother.